Thank you, Rose. Isn't it great to hear the talent in our community? Yes. So it's almost summer. I can see you. The sun is out, the sky is blue, the days are long, and it's time to have some fun, don't you think? Yeah, it's awful short in Seattle, and it reminds me of when I was a kid, you know, when you get 3 months off of school, and it's like the days just seem to last forever, and I remember as a child just playing games and making things up, and just felt like I had all this time in the world, and it was amazing. See, the baby agrees. And I think sometimes when we become adults, we get serious about everything, and so we can kind of let that go. So I'm here to remind you today to play and to have fun and to use the summer to enjoy your creativity. And we already heard Cindy talk about the Artist's Way, but we have the Artist's Way and we have Karen Drucker coming, and it's an opportunity to surround yourself in a community of artists, of fellow artists. I was in a writers group for many years in the 90s, and we would meet every other week and do timed writings and read to one another, and we were only allowed to give each other positive feedback, or if we heard a sentence or a phrase that struck us, we would repeat that back to each other. And it was just a way to kind of keep the creative and energy flowing. It was a wonderful experience. And the Artist's Way kind of provides a framework for that. And I'm actually going to be leading the first night of the Artist's Way, and that's what we're going to be doing is writing exercises. It's going to be a lot of fun. So creativity is how we manifest our dreams, because the truth is we are co-creators of God. It is how the universe comes into manifestation and through creation is through our thoughts and our words and our actions. And without creativity, without that ability to do that, we would simply replicate everything that has happened before on and on and on forever. Yeah? Creativity is bringing into the world something that's never been before, something that's never been thought of or seen in quite that way. And it's playful and it's creative. I've shared with you in the past that my children grew up in Waldorf, and when they were little, we were told that they weren't allowed to have any media or very little media. And the reason behind that was they really wanted the kids to use their own imaginations. They wanted the kids to, like, if they heard a story, to picture what the characters looked like, instead of having it defined by a cartoon or something else that was out there. And to allow them to kind of flow and to use that playful imagination. In fact, when they said, when your child is bored, tell them it's a good thing, because it means the imagination can now kick in. So the truth is that it is through that creativity that we create something original and new. And it wasn't until, you know, when we were trying to fly, you know, when man was trying to fly, we were always creating these things, these machines that looked more like birds. You know, they would flap their wings and stuff. And as soon as we stopped trying to replicate a bird, we figured out how to fly, how to have airplanes, and how to use that technology. So we've been in the process of dreams, and the truth is there comes a time in our life where we have to give birth to our dreams. And we have to give birth to our creativity, and that's what our artists are doing here today. They are giving birth to the creative process in their dream. And that's a very scary place to be, because it takes courage to be creative. Once you put out your creation, you have that issue of thinking, well, maybe the world isn't going to like it very much, and then what am I going to do, right? So one of the ways that I enjoy being creative is through cooking, and I enjoy it because there's no pressure on me to do it right. I just have fun with it, and it's something that I can just relaxes me, and it's something that I can just do. Back in the 70s, I taught myself to cook when I lived in Vail, Colorado, which was at 10,000 feet. And I taught myself to cook through the joy of cooking. I just sort of made my way through the book. And one day I decided that I was going to make a spinach souffle. And so I spent the day getting the ingredients and putting it together. And it was in the oven, and I couldn't wait to see this beautiful spinach souffle. And my landlady came downstairs, and she said, well, what are you doing? And I said, well, I'm making a spinach souffle. And she said, you can't make a spinach souffle at 10,000 feet. I didn't know that. And so when I opened the oven, instead of a spinach souffle, I had creamed spinach. So my creation literally fell flat in that moment. Yeah? So we put our creations out there. We don't know how they're going to be received. Another example for me is when I was on staff at the Shivananda Yoga Ashram in the Bahamas. And one of the things about being on staff at a yoga ashram is they don't ask you if you can do something, or even if you want to do something. They just tell you you're going to do it. And so I got put on the slot for cooking. And in the summer, there were only about, between 30 and 50 people to cook for. In the winter, it was 300 people. They'd still put you in charge in that. So here I am. I'm having to cook dinner. And vegetarian cooking is still fairly new for me. And the thing about the yoga ashram was that food was divided into 3 categories. It was divided into tamasic, that stuff that makes you sleepy, like, alcohol or meat. And then there was rajasic foods, which are hot peppers and spices and garlic and onions. And then there was sattvic food, and sattvic food is the pure food. There's not much left there, a lot of vegetables and beans and things. And so I decided that I would make a lentil loaf. Now understand, I can't put any spices in it, maybe a little salt here and there, but so I made a lentil loaf, and at 6 o'clock when the bell went off for dinner, people are hungry and they're ready to eat. And I opened the oven, and there was this gray mass in the oven. And I thought, there's no stores to go run out to go buy something else. I have to serve this lentil loaf. And we had salad and rice, thank God. So I did what maybe some artists would do, is when it came time to eat, we blessed the food, I blessed it, and then I went to my cabin and I cried. Because I did not want to sit there and watch people struggle to eat my lentil loaf, or to throw it away, or to do whatever. I just couldn't face it. So I ran away and I hid. And about an hour later, somebody came looking for me, and they said, where are you? What are you doing? And I said, the food was so horrible, I couldn't even be at the table. And he said, are you kidding me? Everybody loved the lentil loaf, and they were asking for seconds. There's not a bite of it left, and everybody wants the recipe. And I share this story because in the creative process, you don't know how your creations are going to be received. You don't know if people are going to be asking for seconds and say, hey, give me some more of that, or please, no thank you, I don't want to ever see that again. And the truth is, we can't be attached to how it is received, or we'll never put it out there, right? And that's why it takes courage to be creative, because you have to be willing at some point to put your creation, to birth your dream, to put it out there so that it can be seen by the world, so that it can have a life of its own, so that it can be enjoyed.